Hello and welcome to the Unite Show. I am your host, Kristall One. I'm joined by my partner and co-founder of Unite, Shine Kelly, and together we have created a new emotional well-being platform that you can find at www.unite.love. So every Thursday we are coming to you live at 6:15 Pacific Standard Time on the Unite Show. And this week, our very special guest is the beautiful Laura Fortey, and she is going to be sharing with us about her company, REITIUM. Ooh, I almost got it, REITIUM. And they are going to be sharing, or she's going to be sharing with us about the future of real estate investing. And it is going to be an amazing show. So do stay tuned. As always on the Unite Show, we're going to dig in on the subject, and then we're going to also have room for your questions and get all of you guys to dig in with your questions at the end of the show. So please do stay tuned. Shine, do you have anything to add before we jump on in?
If anyone is watching on social and wants to join the live stream, you can go to unite.love/LoveStream and click the link and then join.
And if you can't stay for the whole show, don't worry, we're recording and we will be sharing to YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else as well. So you can check us out there.
Nice intro, honey.
Thank you. I worked on it. I polished it up this week. So without further ado, we are going to jump in and get to know Laura a little bit here. We've known Laura personally for many years, and it's really exciting to now get to have her on our show and sharing with us her new baby, or not new baby, but her baby that she's been working on, this business, REITIUM, that is now, oh, Shine's going to, there you go, show us on the phone as well, that is now live, and everyone is actually able to engage with and interact in this amazing new way. I'm not going to talk about it anymore. I'm just going to let Laura jump in and share this just absolutely amazing opportunity that you've got going on. So take it away, Laura.
Yeah, thanks, Kristall. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous. I don't usually do these like actually live in action, but thanks for pushing me beyond my comfort zone. So yeah, my name is Laura. I am the COO and co-founder of REITIUM. We've been operating for the last 5 years. And what we did was we built a way for anybody to invest in real estate, a fraction of real estate for as little as $100, because what we found was people were continuously priced out, right? Like, we live in Vancouver, which is an incredibly expensive city. We traveled to many conferences around the globe, and it was the same continuous struggle and frustration of people want to buy real estate, but they can't afford it. So, you know, a lot of people understand that real estate is something that everybody wants to get into. We all hear about it. We all want to grow our wealth. It's the safe and stable way to start investing, but it's so expensive. So many people don't have the average in Canada, which is $150,000 as a deposit. The average person doesn't really have that. Yeah. You know, we've got rising interest rates. There's this recession that's looming right now. The average credit score has dropped quite a bit. So even people with good jobs and make a decent income are struggling to, you know, afford. So this is the main reasons why we were so excited to create REITIUM, which is a real estate crowdfunding marketplace. So we built all the tech, and we have properties on our platform that anybody can go take a look at to invest in, starting with $100.
That is so cool. That is just, it like I was saying, it's so amazing to, I remember talking with you, whatever it was, 7 years ago, 5 years ago, many years ago, about this idea. And we were actually so grateful that you held the launch party here in Vancouver. So we were able to join you a few months ago at the launch party, and to see the very first investment go through live in person was just such a treat. And I just felt like so proud of you as like just a community member, watching you grow and watching you create this. And yeah, I'd love to hear how in the last few months since that first live trade was done, how's the community responding? How's it going?
Yeah, so really, really well. The first thing people say is, when's the next property coming on? Because we want to invest more. So the maximum that people can invest is 2,500. We use crowdfunding exemption, so we brought the minimum down to 100, but there is a maximum, right? So there's other people out there that have maybe $10,000, so they want to invest in a few different properties. So that's been the biggest reception is, what are you bringing on next? When can I invest more? Et cetera, et cetera. So we're licensed. We have the ability for 4 provinces across Canada. So we've got Ontario, Manitoba, Alberta, and BC. That's where we are able to operate. So people, residents of any of those provinces can actually go on the platform and start investing. So there will be another property coming on very soon, which we're really excited to talk about soon, not just yet.
Right.
But that's the goal for us, is to continuously have more properties coming on the platform, different types of assets as well. So, right now we have a hotel on the platform. Other properties that may come on are storage facilities or short-term rental units. Anything that has the potential to have like that higher yield,
Mm.
might be like multifamily properties. There's a whole host of, different assets, because everybody invests differently. Some people might really like new construction. Some people might really like investing in land. So we want to make sure that we offer as much as we can in diverse way.
Mm.
Amazing. And where is REITIUM? How can they find you online? You're an app and a platform or website, right?
And I'll go to
Yeah.
it
Oh, Shine's going to take us there.
Yeah, that's great, Shine. So it's REITIUM.com. So we are a web app. So we're a website and a web app. So you can access it very easily from your phone, from a computer. So REITIUM.com is what we like to call the mothership site. So this encompasses all of our information. You can learn more about who we are as a team. And then when you're ready to, you can read all about us on this site. And then when you're ready to invest, you literally just click that invest now, and it brings you to our website where we have all the deals listed. So you can see the first property. So here's the deal that's on the platform right now. You can
I love
look at all the
Fernie.
information. Yeah, Fernie is a great ski town. A lot of people really like Fernie, if you know BC, because it's, summer and winter. There's all seasons.
Mhm.
So, and there's like zero vacancy. So this
Wow.
small boutique hotel in Fernie is a possibility for a lot of people to stay at. So yeah, so
Really well.
Wow.
you have to
2018.
actually log in to see all the information. So this is just the more basic information, but if you wanted to log in and create an account, then you can actually see all the documentation and everything like that.
Cool. That's great. And so there's
Yeah.
18,000 invested so far?
Yeah, like I said, you have to actually log in to see the exact number, because
Okay,
it's
cool.
always updating all the time. But it's just over that. Yeah. So
That's so
it's
awesome.
yeah, it's been a really great first deal coming on the platform. Like I said, people are super excited, and we can operate in those provinces. So maybe the next property might be somewhere in Ontario or something coming up in the future. So we've got lots of people approaching us and asking us
Oh.
to bring their properties on.
Exciting. So as a layman, as a person who doesn't know much about this world, what would be involved? How much work would be on our end? I know I saw how quick it was actually to do the sale at the event, but for someone who doesn't know, are they going to need to spend hours? Do they need to be very knowledgeable to be an investor in this? What is kind of the criteria for that?
Yeah, so the cool thing is we wanted to make this as easy as possible. We created this with people in mind who have never invested. So we made it very simple. A huge part of what we're working on continuously building out is financial literacy. We really want to teach, share education, and let people learn from us as well about investing overall. So you can actually go on to the web app or the website, and you can invest within 5 minutes. So
Hmm.
that's something else that we really wanted it to be quick and easy. Obviously, we suggest that you take your time, read the documentation,
Yeah.
understand certain things. But on the other hand, if you're putting in $100, a few people have said to us that they're really excited to try out, let's say 10 different properties and put $100 in all of them and then see
Nice.
what performs and see what types of properties they like and see what provinces they like. So testing out the market, this has been some feedback that we've gotten that people are really excited to do. So
Nice. Well, you've really opened that opportunity where, like you were saying, people get to play in real estate, whereas before it was just such a kind of exclusive elite and maybe quite serious because you've invested a lot of money into a huge property or maybe a tiny property if you're buying in Vancouver and still invested a lot of money. And yeah, that it really, what you're doing is making it possible for people to play in that market and for anybody to access it, which is just such a amazing gift.
yeah, and the one thing I didn't mention, which a question we get all the time is, do I have to manage it, right?
Mhm.
Because, a lot of people have the idea that they would love to own a second property, rent it out, but they don't realize that it's pretty much a part-time or even a full-time job. Having tenants, they call you in the middle of the night, all the things that you need to take care of that cost out of pocket for you, fixing the roof and doing all these crazy things. If your property is not, down the street from you in another province or in another country, like
Yeah,
all of those things, it's a nice idea to have a second property, but it is a big job too. So the cool thing with us is you are not responsible for any of that. You don't have to go to the property, you don't have to find tenants, you don't have to manage anything, so all of those things are taken care of and it's literally hands-off investing.
amazing. Very
And
cool.
what's needed to let people invest more than 2,500 is the change in the legislation?
Yeah, thanks. That's a great question, Shine. So actually, if people are accredited investors, so they make more than 200K in salary per year, or they have more than $1 million in cash or more than 5 million in assets, then they can invest more. So they can actually invest higher than that $2,500 maximum.
Oh, cool.
And that's definitely possible. So those accredited people don't really have maximums. It just depends on how much they make and how much they disclose and all those kinds of things. So
That's cool.
yeah, so obviously those people invest as well, but we really wanted to focus on opening it up to the everyday person. Like I'm priced out. Like I can't own more places or any places in real estate in Vancouver, right? So it's like this we have created and we're solving the problem for ourselves and our friends who we want to have the same lifestyle. We want to travel. We want to live laptop lifestyle and do the fun, cool things and buy our lattes out. But we also want to be smart with our money and learn and get educated and start growing our wealth in a sustainable way.
Yeah.
Right. So this is why we created this 5 years ago. The idea came out of a hackathon and a frustration and like everybody coming to talk to us about these things and coming together to build this. So yeah.
Yeah, I love Thomas's story.
Yeah.
And Thomas, feel free to jump on anytime you want. But I love Thomas's story about his mom and her friends and them wanting to invest and him sort of, that was part of the impetus to build to come up with the idea and build the platform, was like, I want to make it easy for my mom and her friends to just like own some real estate, and it wasn't easy, and so that's great. Congratulations, it's launched.
Yeah,
it's real.
Yes.
5 years,
real.
it's like a big thing. I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
This is huge.
It's the 5 years, it's interesting because like they always think that a startup is the overnight success, right? Like Amazon started in like the 90s. But it's interesting for us, we had COVID, obviously that slowed everybody to a halt. We had some regulation things that we were working on for a while. One thing took us 2 years to get this regulation. So for us, and then of course, the first year you're building and you're hiring and you're growing and doing all these things. So for us, it felt like one sort of thing after another, but we're actually in a really, really cool spot right now because we're in growth mode. So we see the path before us. We've spent the better half of last year in the US, Thomas and I and our partners. Thomas is here on the call, so I keep referring to Thomas. So Thomas and I and our spouses, we moved down to the US. We set up some connections and roots down in LA and in Arizona, and really looking to expand to that US market. So we are Canadian, we're in Canada. We want to make sure that Canada's running smoothly and that it's accessible to Canadians because that's our backyard. but also we know the US is the big player, right? So we are really set our sights for our future and our growth to continuing with Canada and getting down to the US as well.
Hmm.
Amazing.
So cool. What's the biggest real estate market in the world? US?
That's a good question. I'm sure it's the US. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. I mean, it's a $280 trillion industry globally, which is it is the biggest industry in the world. I'm sure the US is the biggest player.
That sounds like a lot.
It's a little bit, yeah.
How big is the world in money?
The world market.
Is it
Yeah.
1,000 trillion yet? What's that number? A gajillion?
Hey, Google.
I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure.
If real estate is a quarter of whatever that number is, that's pretty crazy.
That's pretty big.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
real estate is like let's say there's a top 10, right? Real estate is the 9 below it combined,
Mhm.
bigger than that, right?
Yeah.
So like it's just
Right, 'cause
insane. Like it's
all
not
the
even
land and
touchable.
buildings.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow. That's so interesting. So what's the big vision? Tell us, give us the like
Yeah.
10 years. You guys are like a public company, probably.
Yeah.
You can definitely afford real estate in Vancouver at this point. What's the big vision for REITIUM?
Yeah. So
26 trillion.
There you go. Our co-founder, REITIUM's co-founder, Thomas Park, chimed in with the global real estate market is worth 326 trillion. There you go.
Wow.
Thank you, Thomas. Yeah, so big vision.
Yeah, there's a lot, right? 10 years. Yeah, so definitely going public, we didn't build necessarily to sell. Like we built because this is our passion. Same as you guys, like creating community. We see lots of different arms coming off of REITIUM. We wanted to remain heavily focused on real estate. It's what we love, it's what we know, it's what we trust. So, we've had a lot of people approach us. Hey, can you fractionalize cars and diamonds and art and blah, blah, blah. Yes,
Mhm.
we can do it.
Yeah.
That may be something we may look at to continue to white label in the future, but it's like we needed to remain focused on real estate. So we kept on that vision.
Mhm.
Something we're very excited about is we have created and we're continuing to create our youth app. So our youth app is teaching financial literacy to kids, and kids can also then invest with obviously their parents facilitating the actual trade. But
Yeah.
birthday parties, Christmas time, like aunts and uncles and everybody gives kids toys that they don't need or that they
Yeah.
just throw in the closet
Mm.
for later. But what if you could put, $50, everybody could put $50 or whatever into this kid's account.
Yeah.
And then when the kid has a minimum of $100, then they could look at what deals they wanted to invest in. So the goal would be by the time they're 25 or of age, that they have enough money for a down payment to buy something of their own.
On their own home. Oh, that's so
Exactly.
amazing. I
Yeah.
haven't heard that piece before. That's so,
Yeah.
wow. Thank you for
It's
doing that.
something, yeah, it's something we've been sort of building in the background, and we are raising capital right now. And once we get more capitalized, we really want to focus on that. I have like 5 kids in my family, nieces and nephews, and I
Yeah.
really want to practice this on them because
Yeah.
I know that they get really excited. The new generation, they want to learn about money. They want to know.
They
They want to
do.
be
Yeah.
yeah, you have kids, Kristall, they want to be involved.
I do have kids, and I feel like that idea of kind of needing the quick, most of what my kids want their Christmas and birthday money for is technology. And it's always, they get their whole family, like they're so smart. They get everyone to resource pool their funds to upgrade their computer, to buy them the next VR headset they want, whatever the piece is. They're not like, oh, I need all the latest video games and all the latest toys. They actually want their platform that they can really engage with. And they're really excited. Like I feel like this new generation is not so much in that, it's jumped out of my mind. It's not short-term pay. It's what do they call it? The fast, instant satisfaction, instant gratification. I feel like a lot of older generations kind of make fun of the new generations of like, I need it now and I'm cheap and easy. And I feel like what I'm really seeing in this next generation, and my kids are 10 and 12 and a half now. And what I'm really seeing is they're really committed to growth and to evolution and to being part of something. and to voting with their dollar and pitching in. And when they're playing a game and it has a stupid rule or a weird too many ads or a weird way that they try and take money from people, my kids are like, no, I won't play that game or any of their franchises, because I'm like boycotting it because I don't agree with it. Like that's what they even like different like franchises. My son really doesn't like DC. So he's like, I'm not watching anything to do with DC because he has a strong feeling about it. So for me, it's really giving the kids an opportunity to vote with their dollar, to invest in what matters to them. And I think that will be so exciting to see what kind of things kids want to invest in. And I guarantee you there's going to be a lot of desire for sustainability and environment stuff. My kids are really passionate about like save the pandas and feed the pandas and take care of the ecosystem. So I think, kind of the eco retreats and those kind of spaces are really going to be something that I know my kids would love to encourage and support. So yeah.
Okay, sign them up. They're going to be R&D testers for the youth app.
100%. They will be very good at my son, especially my son Nakai. He's been on Roblox and Minecraft for 7 years now, and he's already coding and modding and doing all that. And he's always talking about the interface and how, oh yeah, it's really clunky the way they take you from this platform to that platform. And so he's got all he'll be a great bug tester for you guys.
Yeah, no,
Like,
honestly though, and we need the younger generation, right? Because they're the ones teaching us, we're learning from them. So I really want to put this in front of kids and say, tell us how it can be better. Is it interesting? Is it fun? We've gamified it to what we think is interesting to a degree, but definitely definitely we're going to talk more about that, Kristall, because it's something that we're really, really passionate about. And probably none of us here on this call learned any of this stuff in school. A lot of people in their 20s, 30s, 40s still don't understand finances. I'm always learning more as well. I want to know more about investing and different types of different opportunities. And I feel like if we can continue that conversation, the younger generation, it'll just be obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm really actually excited. Thomas and I are both actually really excited for that, because, that is what we see. That's what we see how we can actually help go viral as well, to get this into the hands of everybody who wants it and needs it, but also to really do the give back piece and get people educated and get them excited and not have finances be so crazy that they just shut down and trust bankers. We all know how that goes lately. Right?
Bankers or teachers or parents or people who just, again, they're following someone else who's following someone else, and no one's actually checking in on first of all, what's kind of true, and then even what's true for me. And I think that's just so valuable to give that back to the next generation. I think something that my son always talks about, so many games, of course, either they have a membership or you have to pay for anything cool, any upgrades, any perks, any things like that. And he's always saying, I wish there was a way for people who don't have money, who don't get allowances, kids, to earn points that can translate into actual stuff, whatever they want to buy. And that's something we're really looking at on Unite as well, is ambassadors are an invaluable thing on any kind of global network where you're really wanting the community involvement, is people who are cheerleading, people who are teaching, paying oh yeah, I saw this, did you see this, come check this out, and this is how you use it, and oh, I see that you're new to the platform and let me help you out with that, and if you have any questions, I'm here. Because of course we all are going to have our support teams, but having those raving fans that really believe in us are so valuable, and having a way where they can actually be rewarded for that contribution and have it translate almost like a volunteer bonus into actual funds that they could invest back into the platform. One of the best models, I was a single mom with 2 babies for many, many years, and I was on income assistance and had no money to spend on kids' clothing. Not that I felt like I needed a lot, but rain pants in the winter and snow boots and things like that. And what I found is I would be given a few things from family members, they would want to buy something new and they'd give me something, and my kids would use it for 5 minutes and outgrow it. And the best store that was just an amazing resource for me. There was a consignment store in the city right near my home where I could bring my nice, gently used, outgrown kids' clothing, consign it, and they would either give me 40% of what they sold or 60% if I bought back in the store, which of course I'm going to bring in my, size 2 rain pants, and then I need size 3. So then it's, of course, it makes sense. They had set up a little place where the kids could play with the toys, so mom could shop. Like, it was just such a great experience. And unfortunately it closed, and I just kept being like, it was such a great system, because of course everyone who's coming in is going to spend right back in the store. So to put something in place where everyone who's on the platform and contributing can actually get rewarded back, and keep the community flowing and keep the money in the platform, is just such a great idea. So yeah.
And I'm not sure exactly how that will fully evolve, but it's something that we're super excited about. And we want to create more communities as well. So we're on all the places, Discords and TikToks and Reddit and everything like that. But it's also like, there's other people out there who also have financial literacy that we would like to start communicating and having more of a community feel around that too, right? So I think it's something that everybody's very excited about or interested in, because again, it's something that we haven't learned, and we want to change that paradigm for the next generation. They're forcing us to change it, right?
Yes.
Which
Yeah.
is really good. So
wow, congratulations. That's so exciting to hear. I'm all in to support with that. So we will keep spreading the word, and whenever you need anything along those lines, let us know, and we're so happy to send that out to our network, because we know all the people who want to play in that game for sure.
Mm-hmm.
How's the fundraising process going? Tell us about the whole process. Like, how did it start? How's it going? What are the lessons? I'm definitely asking for my own.
Did you say
learning.
fundraising? I think you said fundraising. Okay,
yeah.
Yes, you did. Yeah, Shine wants to completely change subjects and jump straight into another one. So away we go.
Yeah, no, it's great, because like, there's probably a lot of other tech founders on the call, or people who are interested in this topic too. I mean, it's not a surprise or a shock that fundraising is, a bit, that people are a bit afraid right now because of everything that happened with Silicon Valley Bank, a bunch of other banks that sort of followed suit. So basically, when we started out 5 years ago, we fundraised. So we're in our 3rd round right now. In our 1st round, we came up with the idea. We got all of our friends and family into a room, and we said, okay, here's the idea. I highly recommend, if you have an idea, tell everyone, because everybody's so afraid. Oh, they're going to steal my idea. They're going to do this and that. It's a lot to steal someone's idea. Like, we've been in this for 5 years. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure. So I would just tell everybody that, like, understand, maybe don't give away all the secrets, but understand if it's a valid business, if it's a valid idea, would people pay for it? Does it make sense? How do I need to change my pitch or craft it in a certain way that people understand it? So we raised friends and family. Quite quickly, we raised $700K within probably about 6 months. So right away, we were like, okay, this is something people want. We've validated our idea. Now we're going to go into the market and start building and start hiring and start doing all that stuff. So that was great. And then we raised another round. I have to think exactly how much the numbers. We raised 2.9 overall in the first 2 rounds. So I guess that would be like 2.1 million roughly in the second round. And then right now we're raising as well. So we've raised a little bit in this round. We've got lots of people circling, lots of people interested. So if there's anybody listening that's interested, who is the fundraising master, but we are.
You just cut out when you said who was the fundraising master.
Thomas.
If there's anything.
Thomas is the fundraising master. So
amazing.
So we're definitely actively raising. What we found is, let's say the classic venture capital type of people, they're holding onto their wallets a bit tighter. So, and during COVID, they did the same, right? And so, now with these banks all, crumbling, and there's recession coming. So those bigger VCs are holding onto their wallets a bit tighter, but there's lots of other capital. Crowdfunding is a great way to raise capital. We raised a lot through friends and family. We raised a lot through angels. Thomas raised a lot through his realtor network. So these are people like angels are people who are high net worth individuals who believe in you, who believe in the vision. They often invest in people as well. So if they really like you and they believe in your team, you know, we do have one venture investor, but we are actively going after venture as well. We're in our seed round, usually by Series A's when you start to get your bigger venture leads. But I would be, you know, if the people are looking for advice on this call, I would be careful with who you're taking money from as well. Because if people want to control you, take extra seats on your board, you know, take 50% of your company, like all these things, like it might be a good idea, but you just really need to look at if that makes sense, what you're willing to give up. We've actually given money back to some people who have just been either too controlling or whatever the case is, or we've said no to some people and we've actually returned some money. So it's also like being in a position where you believe so much in yourself and in your advisory team and in your board and your product that you have the confidence to be able to turn those things down even when you need the money. Because it can get really expensive really quickly if you take money from the wrong people. So
did you do an equity crowdfunding with REITIUM?
We did not. It's still something that, okay, so let's rewind for a minute. So back in the day, crowdfunding used to be $250,000. That's not that much money. So we never did a crowdfunding round because we're like, well, that's not really too much money. We were successfully raised from friends and family and other people before. So we never really thought it was going to help us out too much. Like we can get debt for that amount of money and debt is cheaper than giving up so much equity too, right? But when the crowdfunding rules changed about 18 months ago, now you can raise 1.5 million on a crowd fund. So we were like, okay, that's more interesting, right? That could be half a round or, you know, a full round for some people. So it is something that we will revisit and look at again. That obviously does cost money as well. It costs probably between $20,000 and $40,000 and you have to do all your own marketing. So at the moment it hasn't made sense for us, but it's something we would definitely consider. And it is definitely a good option for people out there who are looking.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense if that's your model for real estate. It's like you fractionalize REITIUM on REITIUM.
Yeah, exactly. Use our own platform. Yeah. Well, that would be ideal, but yeah, haven't done that yet.
Do you know it's the Medallion Investments, Bryce and Camille? Do you know them?
Yeah, I know Bryce. Yeah. I don't know him personally, but
okay, yeah. And they teach people about crypto investing as well as they have some real estate deals that are the only ones I've seen from them are Airbnb specific, where you invest in an Airbnb business and then they sort of pay you every month from the profits of that. Have you thought, is that part of the vision for REITIUM, like having being a part of like not just the property but the business as well, like investing in a Airbnb business, for example, or I don't know.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I think what you're saying is more like a fund, right? So if we had like a fund of 10 Airbnb properties as an example that you could invest in this Airbnb fund. Is that sort of what you mean? I think maybe.
Yeah, either someone who's already running an Airbnb and wants to bring on some investment and then pay people out monthly, or I mean, you could even eventually, you know, have your own people and just like invest in properties and run the Airbnbs, and it's like an extra cash flow model.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, short-term rentals are something that will be coming onto our platform as well. You know, it's definitely possible, but what we really pride ourselves on is doing the due diligence. So if it's just some random dude who has an Airbnb and wants to like get rid of half of it to like have some money in his pocket, like that's not something that we would go for. It's like maybe this person has 30 Airbnbs. They've made a full business out of it.
Yeah.
So those types of people that have been doing it for years, the cities allow it, they have the right permits. Like we would really do our due diligence to a really deep degree to then bring somebody like that on. So with all of our assets, that's our process. We have a whole investment committee. that really digs in to make sure that it's viable. And, you know, this is what the company does for the last 10 years and they've raised this amount of money. And it's not like just some guy who wants to buy his neighbor's house and sell it, you know?
I
So
love that.
Beautiful.
How do people actually take their money out of the platform once they've invested?
that's a really good question. So we created a secondary marketplace, secondary exchange. So there
cool.
are holding periods in Canada. So you have to have your shares in the asset for a certain number of time, but you know, it's real estate. So like if you bought a house today and you wanted to sell it in a month, you would probably lose money, right? Like with like closing costs and fees, et cetera. And like maybe the market hasn't changed too much in 1 month. So real estate's always been like a longer term play and a longer term hold. So the way that I think about real estate is like if I'm going to buy, let's say something or a place or shares in a place, I'm going to hold on for a couple of years because that'll give me enough money to make some dividend back and also the market to theoretically get a good enough uptick, especially in the markets that we're used to. You know, maybe 5 years later, the property's doubled or gone up by 20%, let's say. So
Yeah.
if I'm taking it out in a year, will I really gain that much? Is it really the best idea? Especially if I have, you know, $100 or $1,000, like that's, it's possible, but yeah, it's just everybody has a different investment thesis as well. So it's definitely possible, but there are minimum holding periods, just like based on the SEC, the Canadian regulators as well. So
yeah, but someone would actually have to buy those shares on the secondary to actually take it out.
yeah, just like a house, right? Like if you're trying to sell your house and there's nobody to buy your house, then you still
You can't
own your
just be
house.
like, I'm done. Here you go. Give me my money, somebody. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
but-
So interesting.
Yeah. So like, let's say in theory, if you really wanted to sell, you could sell for a little bit of discount, right? Like just like your house, if you want to move your house faster, you could sell it for a little bit cheaper. And then someone's going to go, oh, well, I'm going to buy this guy's shares because it's a bit of a discount. That's great. Or maybe there's no more shares available in that property and that was a really hot property and they really want to get in because it's making great money, but you really need to get out. So there's all those kind of things. It's basically like a private stock market in that sense.
Nice.
The same with stocks. If there's no buyer, you can't sell your stocks.
This is a whole thing you're building. That's like, it's not little.
Yeah. So it's definitely, and like for us, I mean, we built all the tech as well. So that's another piece that other players don't maybe understand or don't do themselves is they may use a crowdfunding platform and maybe be the marketing side, but we are a tech company that focuses on real estate. So we built all the tech. We are tech first, basically.
Nice.
So with the REITIUM crowdfunding marketplace, it uses the technology of REITIUM. So the marketplace itself is using REITIUM's technology, but it's its own entity. So that's the place where people are buying and purchasing these properties.
Beautiful.
Cool. There's a question.
Yeah, and if anyone has any questions, Shine's going to read the question here, but if anyone on the call has any questions, please feel free to either comment with or post them in the chat and we'll read them out, or you can put your hand up, the little hand icon, and then we can call on you as well. So yeah, there's the raise your hand and then you pop up to the top of our screen. So Shine's going to read out our question.
Great story, Laura. Thank you, says Jenna. How would taxation work for the shares? Is it TFSA eligible?
Yeah, so taxation would be just the same as you would any income, right? So if you're earning a dividend, if you choose to take the dividend out, when you choose to get your shares out, it would act as any other income.
Oh, so you can earn a dividend?
Say that again?
You can earn a dividend?
Yeah, it could be a dividend, let's say if you get monthly rental income. There could be a dividend there, whether you choose to take it out or you could potentially reinvest it, depends on the deal. Every deal's structured differently. So to answer the second part, the TFSA, some deals, yes, will be TFSA eligible. So again, every deal is structured in a different way. And some deals may be TFSA, some deals may not, TFSA and RSP eligible. So, you know, it is real estate that you're investing in. So there's another piece that you could actually also reallocate funds to.
So
good question, Jenna.
Most like tech stocks, like if you're investing in Facebook or Airbnb or Twitter or whatever, some of them have dividends, but a lot of them don't. Would most real estate include dividends because of like the cash flow element, or it depends on the deal, or what's the percentage?
Yeah, it all depends on the deal. So let's say it's land, right? Land may be just raw land. There might not be anything on it. There might not
Yeah,
be any rental income. It may literally just
yeah,
be like an equity play. Let's just say as an example,
yeah.
because maybe we know that this piece of land in 5 years is going to probably triple, let's just say. So there probably wouldn't be any dividend or monthly income on that because it's not
Yeah,
rented out, it's empty.
yeah.
But if it's something like, let's say it's a short-term rental as an example, or a storage facility that, generates money every month. So then there would be that monthly income, that monthly rent. And then, when you sell later, then you could get the appreciation as well. So
Hmm.
again, each deal is different, and everybody has a different investment thesis. Some people may really not want to earn a dividend if it's $10 every month. So some people may want to keep that in or continue to reinvest or work on that kind of a piece where it collects in their wallet until it's $100 and then it auto puts into something else, or they
Mm.
decide to put it into something else. Maybe they don't want to take it out. So again, every deal is going to be completely different in that sense, but you can read about and decide on everything.
Cool.
Beautiful.
Shane says, do you develop properties too, or would you work with a developer to do that part?
Yeah, it's a good question, Shane. We're a tech company, right? So we personally would not do the development. Definitely, it could be a potential where we would partner. Um, there could be new construction. It could be maybe like a fix and flip type development. But we would be hands off for that. That would all be on the asset owner or the company bringing the deal to the platform. But definitely, we're interested in all types of assets as long as it's a reputable company, as long as there's good potential gains, as long as like all of the pro formas look good for our audience. We don't really want to bring on deals that don't make sense or are very confusing.
Mm.
So yeah, it's definitely a possibility. We'll just have to see what, we've had a lot of people come to us and ask all these different things and different types of people who want to come on the platform. And
Mm.
we are particular. So that's why we've done 1 or 2 deals right now on the platform. And that's why we're slowly bringing them on, because we want to bring on really good stuff.
Mhm. So for the hotel, I don't know if you're allowed to say a specific number, but for the hotel deal, say I put in $2,500, what's the expected rate of return over whatever 5 years, a year?
Yeah. I'm not allowed to.
How much
is it
money
something
can I make, Laura?
I'm not at liberty to tell you. So you can actually go on to the website and check out that information.
Oh, it is
That's
on
something
there?
that I can't disclose all that information, but
Got it.
yeah. So the information is in the deal documentation. But as the tech company, we're not really allowed to talk about the deal in specifics. We can tell you
Oh,
where it is. We can tell you certain things. We're just not licensed to talk in detail. We're not financial advisors. This is not
Yeah.
financial advice,
oh, nice.
all that kind of stuff. So we have to really, when we're talking to the crowd, the non-accredited people, we just have to be really careful to, not try to lead them in a certain way as well. So
Yeah.
that's definitely something that Thomas and I have both learned a lot about, and everybody
Yeah,
else on our team, because we just have to be aware. So
that's really cool. And that's a great distinction that you are the platform and you're bringing this together, but the actual deal is coming through, that's whatever the hotel and how they've structured that. And then of course there are all the governing bodies that are also doing their pieces when you're investing as well. So yeah.
So technically, is the hotel listing their property for sale on your crowdfunding platform, but you're sort of onboarding them?
they're actually the deal itself is actually a reno project.
Oh,
So they're raising capital for renovation. Yeah,
got it.
Very cool.
so that's what they're doing. Yeah, so I think the best way, and maybe this is a really cool like snippet or takeaway, the best way for people to really think about us, most people know who Kickstarter is, right? They're a crowdfunding platform that raises money for companies to create products, whether it's a bicycle or a backpack, or I'm sure most people here have heard of Kickstarter. So if you can think of us in the way of Kickstarter, like we showcase certain real estate deals onto the platform that people can then buy into. But we're not necessarily responsible to fill the deal. The people that bring on their deals do their own marketing as well, and we help facilitate and showcase their documentation and put everything in one place so it's all seamless. So that's kind of the way that you could really think about us, is that we're kind of like the Kickstarter for real estate.
Nice.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So you're the tech, and
Yes.
they list their property, but you vet them. Kind of like Kickstarter, where they don't just let anyone
Totally.
post
Yeah.
anytime.
Beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah.
love that. I love that analogy. And I think that really helps in the technology world. We're learning as well as we're building our platform and teaching people kind of like what's the front end interface, what's the back end interface. So like our LoveStream on the platform, it looks like Zoom. So we're using Unite as the front facing and Zoom API as the back facing. So people are like, well, did I just go to Zoom? And it's like, well, yes and no, kind of like the way. So it's definitely been a process of teaching people kind of the different layers and the different pieces that we're all working with. And it's really, I think, so innovative and so creative. And I love, we've kind of heard a little bit of like the desire of why you wanted to bring the platform to life, but kind of where did the idea come from of combining, because you're combining a couple of really good technologies. And obviously, I'm guessing it came from a desire to bring this into the world, but then kind of what were the like leading pieces that were like, yeah, let's use this component and this component and create magic together.
Yeah. So Thomas, sort of Shine alluded to it. Thomas tells a great story about his mom. So there's a kind of a couple ways that this sort of came about. We all live in a very expensive city of Vancouver, or the whole world is getting crazy expensive. So the frustration to not be able to get in. So then my other co-founder and I went into a hackathon, and the idea for the hackathon was come up with a real world solution using blockchain. So something I didn't talk about at all. We use blockchain as our technology data layer. So we ended up winning the hackathon, and we, it was the beginning of REITIUM. It wasn't exactly the same as REITIUM, but using fractional for real estate for the blockchain. Around the same time, Thomas, had dinner with his mom and his older sisters, and he had just made $1 million fixing and flipping a property for his affluent clients in the past year. And his mom, who at the time was 75, and she leans over and says, "Here's 30 grand. Go make me the same returns that you made for these other guys. You made them $1 million, right?"
Yeah.
So he's like, "Oh, geez, okay, you're 75. Like, I can't really do anything, or I can't really help you. Can't get you like a mortgage, blah, blah, blah." So she then goes to church and gets 6 of her girlfriends, all 75. So there's 6 of them now who all have $30,000, and say, "Okay, we got more money, get us this mortgage." So it was kind of a light bulb moment for him. And right around the same time, we had won the hackathon. So we were all just chatting, right? And we talked about this idea, and we kind of evolved it. And so, the idea is people who have a little bit of money, maybe they have no credit, bad credit, can't get a mortgage, whatever that is, but there must be a way. These 6 ladies, that would be what, 180K between them. That's kind of a lot of money, but banks don't lend to them because of their age, et cetera, et cetera. It's just like there must be a way for them to still participate for a smaller number, but also be hands off, and also just still get the gains that everybody else is getting. So that was really the basis for REITIUM. And like I said, we got a whole bunch of friends and family in a room and raised capital quite quickly, which was it was really great for us at the time, and just kept going. And it's been 5 years. We just had our 5-year anniversary like last month. So it's been 5 years, and we have a team of about 10 now. So we've been building up our advisory. We've been, like on Apple TV, on the Times Square billboard. We've been on different shows. We've been conferencing all over the world. This idea that people share things, the share economy, and they fractionalize, it's not a new concept. So that's awesome, because we're not creating a behavior.
Yeah.
So we're going, okay, people already think this way. What can we offer that everybody wants? And
Yeah.
how can we do it and facilitate it in a regulated way, because it has to be regulated.
Yeah.
We always knew that we were selling a security from the beginning, and we didn't want to go Wild West blockchain ICOs and all that back in the day. We knew that we wanted to have the longevity of the company. So from the very beginning, hired the right lawyers and the right team, and continued to go down that road. Like I said, it took us 2 years to get one regulation, so it's not been easy. But there's probably, when we started out in Vancouver in 2018, there was a lot of companies doing blockchain, and about 85% of them at that time are gone.
Yeah.
So, the longevity that we've had, because we've done it slowly, we've done it right, and we've halted when we had to, like during COVID, who knows what was going to happen. We paused for a minute, but we've also hired, we haven't necessarily hired slow, but we haven't hired fast, like all these mass layoffs that are happening because they hire too quickly, right?
Yeah.
So it's what's the timing of the market? What's the timing of the industry? So we're always constantly learning, but we're just trying to do our best and do things in the way that actually services the community. So
Wow. That's so inspiring to hear. I love hearing the origin stories. And whenever Shine and I are at a point where we're kind of feeling not in a rut, but kind of we're missing that, we're kind of just doing the things we said we would be doing, and we're missing that piece of that excitement. And we do little games where we'll be okay, if we're going to create the next thing or add to it, we can't think about anything we've ever thought about before. It has to be something totally new, something using components that we haven't thought of before. And we do that. And it sounds like that's what that hackathon was for you guys. And to really take innovation and take those thoughts to the next level. And then, of course, we all know that's kind of the secret sauce, when you can take a new idea, but apply it to a need that you really identified and saw was not only valid for you guys as the team, that you wanted this to exist, and Thomas wanted it for his mom, but that you could see it being a need, a global need. And then how can you meet it with the current technology, like you said, with the current behaviors that sharing resources is really becoming such a, I don't know if I want to say trend, but it's something that's feeling really easy for people now, much more manageable than, oh, everyone has to do their own thing and own everything, and kind of this insular place. So I feel like it's just, yeah, such a lovely way to see that you kind of took advantage or took part in all those components. And I think we can all see the success in doing that with what you guys have created. So
yeah, I'd love to. That's awesome. I really appreciate that, Kristall. I'd love to add something that both Thomas and I really feel passionate about and has helped us a lot. So, and we highly recommend any founder, any tech founder, join accelerators, because they, be careful with which ones you join, because some take a lot of money and equity, whatever. Do your due diligence. But the access to investors, the access to knowledge, the ability to go, this is how we got down to the US. We got into UCLA's accelerator. We lived in LA, went to the UCLA accelerator, met incredible people living in LA, of course. So it's how can you actually get into certain markets in LA if you're not there on the ground and doing anything with the university? Everybody wants to help out universities, right? And students and people who are alumni and whatnot. So I love accelerators. We've done 3, I think we've done 3 now, maybe 4. But accelerators that help you grow, help introduce you to people, and help you get funded. Honestly, that's been a game changer for us. And it stretches us, especially being in the US. It stretches us with how we think, how we show up, how we operate. And it's been a really amazing time to do all those. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Thank you.
Love it. Anyone else have any questions for Miss Laura?
And to keep jamming.
And I forget what I was going to say.
It jumped right out. It will come back if it needs to. Yeah, well, I'm definitely very excited to see where REITIUM goes and to be part of, especially the youth aspect is super, super exciting for me. Is there, other than accredited investors, is there anything else that the community can support with at this time? Of course, we love to do our bit to share and promote and spread the word, but other people that really love the mission, people in our community love to share a mission and share something with heart. And I think the mission just feels so strong of both wanting to make real estate accessible to people with $100 or more. Like, that's just so amazing, to make it accessible to retired people that aren't mortgageable. Like, it feels kind of unfair that they're like, oh no, too old, sorry, bye. And then to kids as well, to really help that education piece. So I think so many people in our community are really going to care and want to follow the journey. So how can they follow along and support, and yeah, what's the best way for people to do that?
Yeah, thanks, Kristall. So, we're on all the social media places, the YouTube, TikTok, Reddit, Discord, what are all the other ones? Facebook, Instagram, we're everywhere. And now, because of you guys, we're gonna get on Spotify, because I love that. I love that you can see the videos.
Yeah.
And so you can follow us, like, share, learn, share things with us. If you see amazing, cool stuff, like if you're in a community of investors, we're locals in Vancouver, so like, invite us. We'd love to speak. We love sharing the knowledge, sharing the topic. But I would say the biggest thing is become an investor if you want to, if you can. Check it out. If this deal works for you. If not, take a look at the next deal. But we're really trying to grow our user base. Obviously, this is our first deal, and we do have quite a few people in our user base, but we're always trying to spread the word as well. So share it around, check it out. If you like it, if there's feedback, right now we're still open to user feedback, and we probably always will be. If there's anything that you'd like to see or was confusing, or we're going to be making it a lot more educational as well as we go through. But we are here to cater this to the community, so we would really love to be part of that. We're back in Vancouver for a while now, so any events we want to go to, we're going to start hosting our own events as well. We're going to be doing one probably every 6 weeks, so they're going to be on the topics of real estate investing. We have some pretty heavy hitters in our corner and on our advisory board that we want to bring in, so we can actually just start growing that community of our own as well locally. So
Nice.
all of those things, if any of them
we're actually planning a June event. We're maybe looking at hosting it at a co-working space and having like a more businessy feel than our normal kind of wellness events. And we have this thing called speed healing at our events, where people can do like 10-minute short sessions with different card readers or massage or energy healers or therapists or whatever. And Kaisa, who's Kristall's mom, is on the call. She's a speed healer and an amazing human being in general. And so we were thinking of doing it so that instead of healers, we would have advisors to entrepreneurs and people who could offer wisdom or whatever. And so that's something we're working on. So maybe we can co-create in some way.
Thomas I'm gonna volunteer Thomas. He would love to come and talk about being a startup founder. I would love to come and talk about like the investment side.
Amazing.
But definitely, we would both love to be there for sure. Like, I love that you're thinking that too.
Yeah, we went to a women in business. Who hosted the event in Seattle?
Graham and Walker
Bank, and they hosted a women in business networking event, and we really loved the format. They had like speakers kind of doing like little hour chunks on different subjects, and then during that time you could book mentor time, and or they would say like, tell us what you're looking for, and then they would schedule you in for a couple mentor slots where you would have like a 20-minute session with different mentors in a separate room. And it was so valuable to not only share what we were doing and just that practice of like getting it concise into a few minutes, because you don't want to spend 20 minutes talking about yourself. You want to actually get their feedback. So that was really valuable. And then of course, just hearing their advice and their feedback and their thoughts on what we were doing and where we were at was just so helpful. And it really reminded us that, like you were saying, I mean, being part of an incubator is amazing. And a lot of people aren't even at that point where they could be accepted by an incubator. So even the steps before that to just get people's feedback, like you've been giving on different things that can be valuable, different ways that we can kind of step forward is just, is so supportive. And just to feel like someone else is like, yep, I was there where you are 5 years ago. I did these steps and now I'm here today and you can do it too. And just kind of have those cheerleaders without needing to like onboard people onto your board or like get a board to start with. And yeah, I think that would just be such a lovely way to give back and support the people coming up and coming behind us. And yeah, so that's definitely, I love that you guys would like to be a part of that. And I think that's going to be a really fun opportunity to not only kind of share some broad strokes information, but then get kind of juicy with people on the details as well, one-on-one. So yeah.
And I'll connect you with what's his name? Manoj Agarwal. You know him already? Probably.
Yeah. I think I know Manoj, yeah.
Manoj just took over as the head of Startup Vancouver. Yep. And they host regular meetups. And so that'd be fun for you guys to speak there. And then there's someone else. I'll come back. Yeah. I wanted to ask about two things. One is how the blockchain actually works and what role it plays in that in your company, and then what your relationship is with well-being and wellness. And I know you do something human design, or I'm not sure exactly what, but something wellness related, and like how as a founder, how that's played a role.
We're making you work tonight, Laura.
I know, I work for my dinner. So good. Okay, so the blockchain. So when we started out at the beginning of 2018 when blockchain was all the rage, crypto, everything. People were so excited. So we started out by talking about our company, by talking about what is the blockchain, because people didn't understand or know. People got afraid of blockchain, NFTs, all the things. People got scared. So we kind of stopped focusing on that and talking about it. We have nothing to do with crypto. We are not a coin. We use the blockchain as our information and our data. So we actually keep everything on record on the blockchain because it's, it's very safe, it's secure, it's unhackable, all those things. So if we have, let's say, this hotel or another property that needs to recall information, we can actually access all of the information very, very quickly because we use the blockchain, right? So the crazy thing is right now, a lot of people still use spreadsheets or, 4 or 5 siloed programs, which is like, it's actually crazy that things are all over the place or things are still on paper, if you can believe that. So that is a little bit crazy. So with the blockchain, we use it for the data and information layer. Helps us with our digitization as well. And we use it for people to understand their ownership, all the incorporation documentation. They can see their rights to their dividends, their appreciation, their KYC, which is know your customer, any anti-money laundering, AML is all tied into what they're invested in as well. How they paid, their accreditation status. It also makes it really easy for us to transfer the ownership because everything is literally there on the blockchain, can't be frauded or repeated, anything like that. So we also do provide like a paper twin. So if this is something that people want to have access to, all their documentation can be right there. And obviously the best part is the blockchain is that we're not just some random coin that's backed by nothing. You own the piece of the real estate, an actual real world asset. So I don't want to talk too much more about it because people tend to get really confused when you go too deep and then they confuse it with other things. But that's sort of the basics of how we use the blockchain and why we use the blockchain as well. So that's kind of that piece.
That was beautifully clear. Thank you, Laura. That really, like, I feel like every time I learn something about the blockchain, like I hear about the blockchain, I want to like learn a little bit more, because it is a big new subject and a new piece, I feel like, for most of us to wrap our brains around. And I feel like, again, you guys in your company have done a beautiful job of using the current new technology, but not using it as a fad or as a catchphrase or as a like, hey guys, guess what, we're part of the trend too, but actually use it for its value and its kind of intended purpose, and swipe away a lot of the hype and over information or confusing information, like you said, and just really like that was the blockchain purpose, is the blockchain purpose to do exactly that. And that's what you guys are doing. So thank you.
Yeah. So our main purpose was to like digitize everything, right? So like I said, traditionally things were on a spreadsheet or they were manual. Like it might have taken 4 or 5 hours to onboard somebody and we do it in 5 minutes, right? So the digitizing of all of that, it's all in the automation and the tech that we actually built. So, and it knows too, like let's say, Kristall, let's say you try to invest more than you're allowed to in a calendar year, it'll go, oh, you only have 500 left to invest this year, right? So it's like, it takes away the potential for human error to be like, oh, Laura, you got to look at the spreadsheet. Did Kristall invest this? And to calculate everything, right? Like using technology to help us and to support us. So it's just, there's a lot less room for that human error when you use the help of those technologies. I think, I think the second part to, I think the second part to your question was about like health and wellness. Was that it?
Yeah, I think, well, that's a piece that we always love to talk about on the Unite show and to dig in, because we have so many entrepreneurs and business owners who do tune in, and especially in the more health and wellness area where everyone has the awareness that we all have these missions, we all have this dream and this passion of bring something into the world, like you were talking about, a legacy thing, something that we can actually leave for the next generations. And it can be big and overwhelming and a lot to kind of feel like you need to do that on your own. And I feel like more and more we're all learning the pieces that if we don't take care of our own emotional well-being, and mental health is a big thing that people are becoming aware of. And what we're really excited with Unite is actually to take it to that the next level of emotional well-being, because mental is, yes, valuable, but actually without the emotional piece, it's still one-dimensional, and we really need to incorporate the emotional well-being into it. So as a wonderful, busy tech entrepreneur who is creating magic in the world, how do you navigate and manage your own emotional well-being through those ups and downs? And what kind of advice would you have for people in our community doing the same thing?
Oh, good question. Well, it's interesting. So being away in the US, I feel like in Arizona, especially, COVID wasn't really like a thing. Like they didn't shut down, they didn't do all the stuff we did here. So when we came back here a month ago, I still felt the heaviness of the COVID era, let's call it. So, and I think we're finally coming out of that, which is very refreshing. So that was a for real time for everybody with their mental health. A lot of people, weren't sure about everything going on. So I think that a lot of people are finally ready to start revisiting that and looking at that. We held our breath for probably 2 years. So for me, I actually just hired a coach back in December because I was feeling pretty burnt out, like, candle lit on all ends. And so I decided to hire a coach, and I love science. So I was like doing all these like blood work and all these panels and everything like that. And then just consistently working with the coach. So I did sign up for about 6 months. So far it's going okay. I haven't had too many sessions. But I think external help, I know that Thomas really leans on our advisors to help get him through some of his struggles. They've all been there before, they've done it before. And then having the outlet, right? Like family, friends, taking, maybe it's a day or the whole weekend. Like I'm huge into sports, so I golf, I try to do yoga, I try to get out as much as I can. just to sort of get away from everything that's always in your head. You never shut off as a tech founder ever. Like, it doesn't exist. So even if I'm on the golf course, I'm like, oh, they're like, what do you do? And I'm like, tell the whole spiel and like keep, like the whole 18 holes, I'm telling them about it. But just really try to embody something that almost like distracts my mind in a way, whether that's, for me, that's physical activity. For other people, it might be pets or family or kids or whatever that might be for them. So, I mean, I don't know if that's advice or if that's even helpful, but those are the kind of things that I try to continuously do. I actually really want to get an animal because I think that that actually really helps a lot too.
Yeah.
It just like takes you into the present moment. And that's why I love sports. It's like you can't think over there if you're here doing this thing right in front of you. So it's a practice, right? Like, yeah, it's not always easy to eat well and do all the things when you're working 10, 12, 15-hour days, but it's like, it's hard to also prioritize. One thing I do love that I decided to do at our company, so most companies give like 7 sick days or whatever, right? But I rebranded them as health days. So if it's like,
Nice.
if you're just feeling like you want a day off and go skiing, take a health day.
Yeah.
Or you need a mental health day, lay in bed all day, take a health day. Instead of
Yeah.
a sick day to be like, ooh, I don't want to call in sick and play golf. It's like
Yeah.
this weird stigma. It's
Yeah.
like, take it as a health day. You're sick, so you're
Beautiful.
trying to get your health back, or you need a health day, mental health day, you want to go away. It's like, I think that even just taking away that little weird stigma by
Beautiful.
just reframing it that way,
Yeah.
because most people don't take their sick days, or they'll take like
Yes.
one or two,
Yeah.
so. And I'm all open to feedback too. Like, I want to create better culture and like continue to grow the company. So if I'm open to listening, and like, you guys know me, like I go to cacao ceremonies and sound baths and I do the whole hippy dippy thing, which I absolutely love because it gets me into my body and it gets
Yeah.
me out of my head. And I think
Yeah.
that is the most important, whatever it looks like for
Yeah.
anybody.
Beautiful. Oh, that's such good, wise words. And I hope people are listening and take that on, that you can be successful and have an amazing, successful business like Laura is doing, and prioritizing your health days and making sure that you're doing that health. Without that, we're really just not as valuable, not as useful, and not able to create those legacies and bring these projects into being, which is what all of us want to do. So yeah, I love that. And I love that you're bringing that culture into your company with health days. I think that's such a smart, just little tweak. And the more, that's really what we want to do with Unite, is the more we can remind people and encourage people that actually, we think that the only, a lot of times, and I'm still working on this, that the only times we're being good and doing a good job and being good parents, partners, business owners is when we're doing, and that actually the being time is just as valuable. And if we're not taking that time to be and to wind down and to shut off, we're not going to get those, and not shut off bad, like shut the busy down. We're not going to get those like amazing brainstorms like you guys had at your hackathon. I feel like Unite needs to host a hackathon. I think that would be super fun. We'll pick your brain on best practices for how to do it well. But I feel like if we don't slow down and be present in ourselves, we don't get to those places where we can get the inspirations and get the downloads. Because if you guys weren't in that creative, playful flow, okay, we've got to use ideas we haven't used before, and we've got to think outside the box, we wouldn't be having this conversation, and the world would be sadly missing this amazing opportunity that you have created. So thank you for taking that time. Thank you for being a leader and role modeling, kind of walking the walk, and really putting integrating these values into your business at like a core level. And I feel like people can really feel that, and that's where, like, we're raving fans. We're going to be there all the way with you guys, whatever way that we can support, because we can really feel that at the core of everything that you're doing is you want to make a difference, and you really want to make the best offering that you can for the community to be of service. And we can see that, and we can feel that. So Thank you for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Aw.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Are you still doing what was the modality that you were teaching?
Oh, so a couple things. I did a crypto, I created a crypto course,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
like crypto basics. So I still have that course as well. But I really believe in human design.
Right.
It's kind of like astrology-ish with numerology, with like the chakra system, etc. I haven't really dabbled too much in it lately, but during COVID, when we all kind of paused, I was like, oh, I can get more creative and start doing human design readings again and looking at
Yeah.
that again. So I think that I actually personally think a lot of those things, like you're saying, Kristall, is like being creative is what actually gets us to the spot to create in our business as well.
Yeah.
So whether you're doing art or sport or
Mm,
whatever you're doing outside of your business, um, that actually helps us to bring that forward as well. So
mm,
um, interesting, as you were saying that, so I remember once upon a time reading about Google, and I think it was once a month. Every one Friday of every month, they would have like a free day
Mhm.
where you could work on anything you wanted. And
Yeah.
that's how Gmail was created.
Yeah.
Gmail was created by employees who just like had an idea. And most people use Gmail nowadays, right? So it's one
Yeah.
of Google's most successful things that they created. And that was just like some randoms on a free day, like just spitballing.
Yeah.
So I actually love that and I want to implement that. Um,
mm,
I don't know at what capacity or when, but that's something that I always think about. And I
mm,
also love the 4-day work week.
Mhm.
They tested that in the UK. It's gone really, really well. So, the just having more time with your families. I love the fact that COVID allows us to work from home all the time now. People aren't forced to come to offices as much anymore.
Yeah.
So that also like gives us 2 hours a day back to spend with family and not stressed.
mm,
Just like all of these things coming together.
mm.
I had my birthday yesterday, and one of the things at my company, I'm like, you get your birthday off. That's like a
Yeah.
free day. So I took
Yeah.
half a day, but still, I'm like, it's your day. Like, take the day, have it off. Like, who wants to work on their birthday? Like, I
Yeah.
don't. Right. So it's just like these little things that celebrate us as individuals, celebrate us as humans, because we're not robots. We're not AI. We're
Mm.
not
Yeah.
these replaceable machines. We are very creative and we are really interested in all these things. But if we're just in it all the time, then we can't breathe and step away and really create. That's
Beautiful.
my opinion anyway.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I feel like that's so right on. And 4-day work week is something that Shannon and I do a lot of, where we really know that we could do 7 days of work, and the value, if we're burnt out, is going to be the equivalent of like one good on day. And that the more we give ourselves breaks in between, and we find mostly we'll have like one really on day, one kind of half on day, and then we as entrepreneurs, we get to really, of course, set our own hours, but then we feel like if we don't give ourselves kind of a full recharge day every once in a while, the level of work not only decreases, we make we make more mistakes the more stressed out and the more tired we are, but actually exactly like you said, the creativity, the inspiration, the right time, right place, you call the person at the right time, you message them at the right time, that goes way down the more off we are. And yeah, I think it's really neat to see the way the culture of business is stepping up with that and really realizing that the human energy is the asset that we are all working with. And yes, with AI, so much of what we're doing can be duplicated and the creativity cannot. So using that human energy and keeping it ripe and inspired, and keeping our states in that place where we're getting
Mm.
to access that creativity and access that creative thinking is really, I feel like, the mission for all of us as entrepreneurs. And then when we get to the point where we've got employees and people who are really looking up to us to lead the way.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's the way forward. So it's so fun to hear that you guys are on that and doing that. And yeah, I'm excited to hear how you implement more and more of that, see what comes out of your free days when everyone's brainstorming these amazing ideas. I think it's going to be super fun.
I listened to Vishen Lakhiani's podcast on Mind Valley, and he was talking about, he met a billionaire and went to his place in Dubai, and the billionaire said, "Hey, Vishen, do you want to be a billionaire someday?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, okay, I want you to work 3 days a week." And he's like, "What?" "Okay." And he's like, "I work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. That means that the rest of my week is open. And if I need to go on a trip, if I need to go for a meeting, if like, it's not like he doesn't work on those other days. He just doesn't schedule anything except for the 3 middle days." And then all those 4 days are, if he needs rest, he can rest. If he needs vacation, he can vacation. If he needs to go on a business trip, he can go on a business trip. And he has that freedom and flexibility to kind of, and I guess it might be more of a leadership, might be more effective for leaders, because they're more needing to hold that big picture and be thinking about what's next and kind of be on that leading edge. But it was interesting. He was interviewing Nas from Nas Daily, and he's starting a new company, and he was the opposite. He's like, "You got to work like 15 hours a day every day," and like super hardcore. So yeah, it's
funny.
Yeah, I'm definitely a go with the flow, like do my best to get into alignment and do the work that feels exciting from that place, and take time when I need. And some days you work all day, and some days you take off, and it just balances out. And yeah, it's gosh, I don't think I could work for anyone else, but I'm not.
Yeah, you sound like a manifesting generator.
I'm a generator.
Yeah, exactly.
What are you?
Manifesting generator.
What's she?
I don't remember.
I
think we're the same, aren't we?
I don't know.
I can't.
Yeah,
remember. No,
definitely. You're both like.
I have to redo
manifesting
mine.
generators.
No, just
Yeah,
a generator.
send me your charts. I need to see these now.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Jenna, this is me too.
Yeah.
Manifesting generator. I'm just a generator, not a manifesting generator.
I think
Okay.
I don't manifest anything. I just generate.
Yeah, right. You don't manifest anything. Hello.
But apparently, yeah, it's an interesting, like when I'm like in my zone, I can just go.
Yeah.
And I love it. Like I love kind of like going and doing and like operating, and it's just fun for me.
Yeah.
But of course, yeah, I spend time in the vision too. It's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fun. You might have any questions
before we jump
go?
off?
I think it's been really lovely. We'll take some clips and send you the recording and YouTube and all that.
Yeah, this is great, guys. Well, I'm excited to see you when I'm back in the city.
Me too.
Next month or in May, and it's gonna be a great summer. Yeah,
Beautiful.
lots of events, all the fun stuff, back to normal.
Yay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What our next one is April 9th, which you're away for.
Yeah.
But May 23rd.
I'll be back.
Thing
put it in my calendar.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Porangi?
I think so. Is it a musical?
Yes.
He's kind of like Xavier Rudd, does like the multi-instrumental didgeridoo style, and it's pretty wild.
Yeah, so there'll be a workshop kind of ceremony to start, and then it's just dance, amazing, like ecstatic dance, but big.
And then speed healing all day, like or for 3 hours before, from 2 to 5.
Yeah.
And then Eternal Abundance is selling food, so it's all organic, delicious food.
Amazing.
To hang out, and we really find that we get it's the same amount of work to do as an evening as a full day, and it's just so fun to people are taking the time to come be with us anyway. I mean, people can obviously join for the afternoon only or the evening only, but it's so fun when we can just create that big container where we have kind of like 10, 12, 15 uninterrupted hours where we're not on our phones and we're not on technology, and we're just being with each other. We're being present in the moment. We're enjoying the sound healing and whatever's going on, and just get to charge up. So.
Like a mini festival.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Exactly.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Like I'm coming.
Yeah. And then June, we're planning do you know Dr. Steve Young? Did I connect with him?
No, I don't think so.
So good.
Yeah.
He's a sweetheart. He's been doing like 30 years of like, I think he was a chiropractor or a doctor of some sort. And then he's kind of like learning all these things about how to help people. And then he's visiting like Damanhur in Italy, like the spiritual community over there, and working on like really out there metaphysical stuff, and he has these pills and powders that he makes himself, like
Cool
kind of longevity,
biohacking
like
stuff.
supplements and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's just super cool and just such a sweetheart.
Yeah.
And he's building an app and, you know, all the things.
Yeah.
And so he's coming to town maybe for a month in May and June. So
Cool.
like hosting him and doing the business thing.
Yeah.
And we want to do Angel's Den.
Oh yeah.
We should connect with you and Thomas and see who you know. And you know Van Tech, right? Roger Killen, that whole crew. They're like a group of angels in Vancouver.
Van Tech. I probably know them. I haven't.
Yeah.
Haven't thought about Vancouver for a little bit, but
we'll
sure I know them.
Make some chats.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
Yeah, we want to do Angel's Den, where it's not just like Dragon's Den, where it's like kind of like yes or no. And I know they do amazing, support as well, but where it can kind of be like, okay, like you're not ready for this phase, but we can support you with this contact and this learning and this training and this, and really kind of, to support people a little bit. It feels like there's kind of such a gap between like the beginning and the like getting traction. And of course, we need a little bit of that maybe honing time to turn our ideas into diamonds, but I think we can support each other in kind of shortening that. And it doesn't need to be as hard. And any way that we can, just share the kind of the wisdom pool, as we're going to call it on Unite, with all the resources where we can just support other people and bring these visions to life, and that it doesn't have to be something where you spend all your time and all your money and burn out and feel miserable about it, where we can support each other and just lifting each other up a little bit. So
more impactful businesses.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I think that'll be super fun.
Guys.
We're gonna get together in person. It'll be so fun. Aw, thank you so much, Laura.
This was great. Love you
guys.
Can't wait to see you again.
Appreciate it. This has been awesome.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
We'll stop the recording and then we can say bye.
Oh.
Yeah.
Sure.